Putting together the annual event is no easy task, nor is leading it. EWTN's Montse Alvarado sat down with Jeanne Mancini to get her thoughts on her more than 10 years as a leader of this massive movement.
Jeanne, thank you so much for being with us, especially in this transition moment where after over a decade of defending life through the March for Life, you've decided to take a step down. Do you remember when you first came to the march, why you decided to join?
Oh, yeah. In short, it's because I felt like God asked me to. So I was blessed to be on the board, and really not for very long before the wonderful late, great Nellie Gray passed away. And after her passing, just in praying and thinking about it originally, I agreed to be kind of a transition president. And then really through prayer and just deeper discernment, left the job that I loved at Family Research Council doing public policy to take on this wonderful, wonderful endeavor of running the March for Life.
Under your leadership, the March for Life really has shifted. It's confronted the culture in a very positive way with stories of joy, stories of beauty, stories of courage. And you've brought some unlikely friends to the march to give their testimony and also to help out in bringing the word in places where it doesn't normally reach. When you think about your legacy and where you want the march to continue to go, how did you kind of lay the groundwork for the future?
I'm not sure I'd say I ever strategically sort of led the groundwork for the future. I was really trying to follow sort of the inspirations of God and just discernment and what have you. But I think probably when I look back on my time at the March, which it's just been the honor of a lifetime to lead this organization, I'm still sort of shocked that the Lord would call me to such a public role, which, by the way, I don't think I initially understood how public of a role it was. It sort of became that more along the way. But I love messaging, and really what I love is aesthetics that are beautiful. And so whether that's through, our theme every year or just how we speak about the inherent dignity of the human person, I've probably had the most fun in that area, trying to take kind of what can sometimes be framed as negative or polarizing and instead just show, life is beautiful and the truth is beautiful. Really, in a way, I'm taking my JP2 education and just showing it because, of course, St. John Paul II spent so many years talking about theology of the body, which is essentially like God's plan for the person, and the human person is inherently attractive, even when it comes to some of what are considered the harder church teachings. And when we can just show this for what it is, so show life in the womb for what it is, show choosing life for what it is, which might be hard, but it is inherently attractive and beautiful. And so hopefully my legacy is trying to pull on what is real, true, and good in people's hearts to draw them into the truth of the beauty of life and the pro-life movement, etc.
I like to say that Nellie Gray gave us the words. She coined pro-life rather than anti-abortion, and you certainly have given us the images, the imagery, the stories that speak to our hearts about what it takes to be a pro-life society. You have seen many things happen very quickly in a little bit over a decade, right?
Shockingly.
The overturning of Roe v. Wade, the rise of the state-level marches. I think it's remarkable to see that change. What have you seen on the ground? What would you say was kind of brewing in your time at the march?
Wow, the landscape has shifted radically. So gosh, in so many different ways. So one of the ways is that at least the March for Life, that part of the pro-life movement, was very Catholic. Which is great. We're a non-sectarian organization, but we've certainly tried to open up to other denominations as well, whether it's through speakers or just even outreach or what have you. And so that's drastically changed, I would say, over the years. And we sort of walk in tandem with our brothers and sisters in Christ of different denominations, or just not even Christians, but people
right,
who
the
are
rise
deists.
of secular
Right.
pro-life, people
Absolutely.
who just believe that life is good.
Right. So certainly that's changed. I think also just I'll never forget after pro-life administration won in 2016, the media coverage of the March for Life radically shifted. So, prior to that, we would have we'd have some media coverage. There's no question every day, every year in January. But once we had the standing vice president of the United States come to the March for Life, everything shifted. We had all of the A-listers of the major media networks out there and just desperate to get great interviews. We were on the front page of the New York Times. So none of this had ever happened. And so, I remember well the first time that we were ever mentioned in a press conference at the White House. And really, the March for Life hadn't been considered before. Certainly hadn't been discussed as being considered publicly. So that was exciting.
Yeah, the largest unreported international event in the world.
Yeah, right.
Because it truly is an international event. How has working in the pro-life movement, particularly in such a public way, affected your spiritual life? A lot of individuals in the pro-life movement say that when you start doing this work, spiritual attack is something that's very real. How has that manifested itself in your life?
Well, I agree with that. I think that first and foremost, the pro-life work is a spiritual battle that we have to engage with. And we don't need to be afraid about that because we have so much authority in the Lord. But, there are these different human things as well. And so certainly it's intensified my spiritual life. And the way that you asked that question was being in the public. And so, for example, I tend to be shy by nature. And so it's hard to get your picture taken so often and just so many people wanting to speak with you, which is a total blessing. That's what an honor. But I can remember my spiritual director once just reminding me, and I'm no Mother Teresa, but reminding me Mother Teresa would offer every picture taken of herself for a soul in purgatory. And there are, some people, they love the spotlight. I probably wouldn't put myself in that category. And so it's been, again, I'm kind of Moses with the speech impediment, but there I am. And with my little pictures, sometimes I'm offering them for different things going on in my life. But I say that again, astounded at all that God can do and all that he has done over the past 12 years.
Looking toward the future now, thinking about what comes next, what's your prayer, what's your hope for the march?
Oh, yeah. I'm just so delighted with Jenny Bradley Lichter, who will be assuming the reins of the March for Life. And she brings such a different set of gifts. And I think this set of gifts that the organization needs at this particular time in history. And so I see just the organization continuing to grow and grow and grow under our State March program. I think that we'll be even more of a movement leader in terms of strategically leaning into what's best for the pro-life movement, where we need to go. And so I'm excited to see how God uses Jenny.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.